A weak Xi Jinping is bad news, not just for China, but for the rest of the world too, it seems. Xi Jinping's domestic troubles will dictate his response overseas. The fear is it might lead to unintended consequences, raise the risk of conflict. Case in point, the Pacific. Recently, China pursued a security agreement with 10 Pacific islands. We told you all about it. They wanted a deal, a sweeping deal. The deal fell through. China failed. Small Pacific nations rejected China's proposals. Beijing was humiliated. Instead of backing out, they're doubling down now. Recently, there was a dangerous face-off between the militaries of China and Australia. Australia had sent a surveillance aircraft to the South China Sea, which, by the way, is a routine affair. They do it all the time. But this time, it was different. China dispatched one of its fighter jets, and this aircraft intercepted the Australian plane. It executed a dangerous maneuver. The Chinese plane released pieces of aluminium. They got sucked into the engine of the Australian plane.
I can confirm that on the 26th of May, a RAF P-8 maritime surveillance aircraft was intercepted by a Chinese J-16 fighter aircraft during what was a routine maritime surveillance activity in international airspace in the South China Sea region. The intercept resulted in a dangerous manoeuvre which did pose a safety threat to the P-8 aircraft and its crew. The Australian government has raised our concerns about the incident with the Chinese government.
The incident happened last month, but the details were made public only yesterday. Australia is calling this a dangerous act of aggression, and they're right. Anything could have happened here. The lives of the Australian crew were put at risk. Thankfully, no one was hurt. But how does Beijing justify actions like these? As always, they're blaming the other side.
中方绝不允许任何国家
China will never allow any country to violate its sovereignty and security under the banner of freedom of navigation and endanger peace and stability in the South China Sea. We urge Australia to respect China's national security, interests and major concerns, and to be cautious with its words and deeds so as to avoid a miscalculation that could cause serious consequences.
中国的国家安全利益和重大关切。
Beijing said nothing about its own acts of aggression, and no surprises there. China never admits its own mistakes. The world should worry about what they will do next, because they've not taken their eye off the Pacific. They might have lost the security deal, but they're trying to establish a footprint in the Pacific. Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi was in the Pacific last month. He visited 7 Pacific countries. He engaged virtually with leaders of 2 more island nations. The Chinese Foreign Minister made a statement with this tour that he wants to remain engaged, keep an eye on future opportunities to strike deals. And Wang Yi did not get the deal he wanted. But experts believe the setback has only, quote-unquote, strengthened China's resolve. So they are going to try again. Recruiting more friends is just one part of that strategy. The second part is active military presence. The Chinese military is challenging regional powers, especially Australia. The tensions between China and Australia are growing. The jet encounter was just the latest in a series of flashpoints. The first one happened back in the month of February. A Chinese naval vessel was sailing near northern Australia. It used a military-grade laser on an Australian surveillance plane. Australia said this was an unprovoked act of intimidation. The Chinese military provoked Australia during elections too. On the day of voting, the PLA dispatched a vessel. It came within 50 nautical miles of a naval communications center. Australia said China was trying to gather intelligence. China sent a reconnaissance vessel. It is equipped with highly sensitive equipment. Do you know what it can do? It can pick up electronic signals of warships. Canberra feared Beijing was trying to collect information about American ships, those warships that are active in the region. So the military threat from China is growing by the day. What is their end game? What are they trying to do here? They're chasing military supremacy in every possible theater of conflict. Considering the unpredictable leadership in Beijing, these developments must be seen for what they are, a serious challenge to world peace. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.